Hello once again, NASCAR fans. Welcome back to the newly named NASCAR show here on The Grueling Truth, the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour. I'm Alex Gray, along here with Michael Klein. Okay, so we do have quite a lot to talk about in this. Obviously, prepping, we had a lot of hype built up for the Daytona 500 that ended on a rather sour note. So we'll be discussing a lot about Ryan Newman and his current condition. So be aware, do not speculate anything, and we're just going to give you what has been said to the public. So keep that in mind here as we move forward. So for those of you that need a quick recap of what happened, I'll try and sum this up in the quickest way I can possible. On the final lap of the Daytona 500, Ryan Newman had taken the lead from Denny Hamlin. Pretty much, and at this point I do not want to look at the replay anymore. So pardon me on that. He coming off our turn 4, coming to the checker, just yards from the checkered flag. Blaney who pushed Newman. He's trying to make a move on Newman. Newman kind of lost control. His car went head first into the wall, 200 miles an hour, causing him to immediately barrel roll and flip. And unfortunately, as his car was caught in midair, Corey LaJoie had nowhere to go, running into Newman right where really the most vulnerable point in the car, which was the right side near the roof. And it was, Michael and I here have been fans for a very long time, and we can both agree it was the most nastiest, scariest crash that we've ever seen, and a lot of people can probably vouch for it. So, Newman's car came to a stop past the checkered flag, his car on his roof. Denny Hamlin took the win over Blaney by inches, winning the Daytona 500. And it was a rather frightening situation. Newman was immediately removed from the car by the safety workers, and a big credit to the NASCAR safety workers and those who work at the track and did the best they could do, and were able to safely and quickly assist Newman in that situation. He was taken to the Halifax Medical Center, and for about what I think was the longest 2 hours ever. I had never refreshed Twitter so much. Ryan Newman was sent to the hospital. We didn't really know what was going on, and then Steve O'Donnell came out and made an announcement that Ryan Newman was in serious condition, but his injuries were not life-threatening. Earlier this evening, Roush Family Racing released another statement saying that Ryan Newman is now awake and talking to his family and the doctors. So obviously, we here are super thrilled. We are super thrilled to hear that Newman is alert and awake and that he's okay. That's all we know. No speculation. Please don't speculate. Right now, the best we can do is just pray for Newman and think about his family. That's really the best we can do here. Really, nobody's talking about. The biggest thing that's been talked about was Newman's crash, and it felt like there's so many things I want to say, but I felt like I've talked a little more. I haven't really let Michael here talk, and speaking of which, he was at the race, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor here. You can talk about it if you wish.
All right. Let's just final lap. We're just kind of watching on the monitors, and then as soon as he came into view, all I really saw was, him get turned just dead right. And then I saw when he hit the wall, I saw him kind of get up on his side and go over. And then at that point, I didn't have a good view, but I just saw his car get catapulted into the air, just go cartwheeling. And then I saw him, sliding toward us because, we were sitting on the exit of pit road. And because I was like, okay, he's landed on his window, still expected him to kind of walk away. And then when I saw, it looked like his roll cage had collapsed, and it was driver's side, my heart just sank at that moment so hard. And, then I saw a fire, which it was just divine intervention. That car did not just completely go up, because that car was leaking fuel, if you see on the replays. I didn't know it at the time just because where I was sitting didn't let me see that. I just remember the whole crowd went silent. No one saying anything. There were some people around me who were crying, holding their loved ones. They knew it wasn't good. Then when they rolled the car back onto the wheels, I just remember seeing the roof caved in, and as soon as they started to bring in the screens to cover the car up, that's just when I got out of there. I just couldn't sit and watch that anymore. As I walked through the grandstand, all I could see were people crying, holding their loved ones, comforting each other. I've never seen such a surreal sight at a racetrack. And I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I didn't think there was any way he had survived that. I legitimately thought we had just seen, the first driver fatality in NASCAR in 19 years. And just knowing that I was there and the car landed right in front of me, that was the most sickening feeling I've ever felt at a racetrack. And as soon as I got back to where I was staying, we heard that he had serious but not life-threatening injuries. That was probably the biggest relief I've ever felt, just bar none. Truly divine intervention that Ryan Newman is still here with us. And yes, it looks like he's going to have a long road to recovery ahead, but hey, at least there's a road open for him.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I was worked up, crying on and off. I was legitimately freaking out because,
so was I.
Yeah, this is the first scare we've had in 19 years. And I was just so frightened because, and I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to handle this, because I know we talked last night, and it was, and especially that was more frightening for you because you were there. A lot of people felt sick to their stomachs, and I want to say that I praise NASCAR so much for all the safety enhancements they've made in the past 2 decades. It's amazing what they put in those cars these days. That honestly, it almost feels like a miracle that Ryan Newman is currently still with us and that he's alert and awake. It really does. When I listened to Steve O'Donnell and I heard that his injuries were serious but not life-threatening, I started crying tears of joy because I was so relieved. I felt like all that built-up stress just went away because I was just like, okay, that's something. He's going to be okay. And yes, it's going to be a long road of recovery up ahead. We don't know any other status or what his injuries are. We're not going to speculate that, of course. And this also reminds us, as we've watched so many races over the years, there are people in those cars, and they do this because they love doing it, and they know that every time they strap in those cars, and this isn't just NASCAR, motorsports in general. Motorsports has, will, and will always be dangerous. And I think NASCAR has done a hell of a job keeping drivers safe. So I also want to give praise to these drivers that they know what kind of consequences they walk into every time they step in a car. And, it takes a lot for, people to do that stuff, to go 200 miles an hour in a gigantic pack, that was a wake-up call for all of us that made us, it helps us understand. I've even seen posts from people who don't even watch NASCAR, and they're just like, wow, they understand. For the love of God, NASCAR is not about making left turns. So I just kind of want to stress that. Obviously, I know it's probably been hard for certain drivers like Ryan Blaney and Corey LaJoie who were in the upfront of that incident. So obviously, we're thinking of them too. Excuse me. And obviously, we'll get to other stuff here in a bit, but obviously the biggest part here is about Ryan Newman. And a couple of friends told me that, I don't know if I want to say it, because, well, something that happened 19 years ago today. And you probably know what I mean. But
yeah,
a lot, because even Dale Earnhardt's name was trending on Twitter last night. And I think a lot of people were comparing, because if you take away the Newman crash, it was a good race. It was a fun, exciting, but obviously the way it ended put a huge damper on things. So, here's the other thing that this is why I love NASCAR so much and the community around it. So many people, including the both of us, rallied around and supported Newman. Even when, in the darkest of times, we didn't know what was going on after the crash. So many people just offering his thoughts and prayers, and I just want to say to all y'all, this was, Eric Estep put it perfectly in the title of a video that he just uploaded this evening. The night that the sport came together. A lot of people came together, and I think we came together because Ryan Newman, just like any driver's family, to all these drivers, it's one big racing family. So, you and I both grew up with Newman, a guy like Newman. I've watched him race as long as I've been watching NASCAR. That was 2004.
Ryan was the first driver I ever pulled for growing up. I don't know what it was. Just kind of like the way he drives. Kind of like the way he drove. And, I was always a huge Dodge guy growing up. And, for year 03, he was basically the flagship Dodge driver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. I can think of some pretty decent, good memories of him, and watching him drive the Altel Dodge for Penske. Obviously, him winning the 2008 Daytona 500, the 50th running, giving Roger Penske his first Daytona 500. Even his days at Stewart-Haas and him winning the Brickyard 400 in 2013. That picture resurfaced of him and his family kissing the bricks. And 2014, almost winning the championship despite having no wins. That first year that NASCAR implemented that playoff system, Newman finished runner-up in the championship with Richard Childress Racing. Right now, his last career win came at Phoenix in 2017, Richard Childress Racing. And then last year, of course, he had kind of a resurgence, making the chase, nearly winning it, making the playoffs, and nearly winning at Talladega as well. So it's, stay positive.
Got a lot of good memories of Newman.
Oh, yeah.
So we hope, everything turns out for the better for him.
Yeah, and even some of the commercials he did in the past, especially the old Gillette Young Guns commercials, if you remember those. The one where he shaved the number 12 on everyone's beard and everything. Everyone's like, Newman! And then at the end, Dale Jr. was patting Newman on the back. Looking good, buddy? And there's a big 8 on the back of Newman's head. I love stuff like that. But
my personal favorite with him was the John Cena one. You see
I freaking love him. Newman! And Newman just completely dives on him. Oh, I love that so much. And even in these moments, you just think of the positives. You think of just Ryan Newman is not only a race car driver, he's a father, down-to-earth man. Guy went to Purdue. I believe got an engineering degree as well. Just an incredible guy all around. I was looking at some of the pictures I've taken of him racing at Kentucky the past couple of years, and
yeah, I mean, without a doubt, my best memory of Newman is for a couple of years ago when he was on the trackside stage. This is around the time I started racing midgets, and they were basically doing some trivia. Whoever guessed it would win a free generator. I ended up guessing the right one, so I got a free generator. And, you know, they asked what I would use it for, and I said, well, I started racing midgets, so I'll use it for that. And they brought me back to meet him, so he gave it to me, and he stopped. And we talked about midget racing for a little while. So, you know, he was real, gave me a lot of good advice I could use. You know, so I'm just forever grateful to him for that. So, plus he gave me a free generator, so.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And of course, you know, last year the All-Star race between Boyer and Newman, and then there was a video because right after the All-Star race, like a few days later, a Bass Pro Shops had an autograph session with both Boyer and Newman in it, and there was a video where Newman just sits down, pulls up the chair, and, you know, kind of pats the table and let Boyer sit next to him, and that was so funny because this is like a few days ago they were not happy with each other, but oh man. But
you know, I guess the advice he gave me kind of worked out because I'm actually going to go drive for the team that, you know, he drove for growing up, for No Kenyon Racing. So, you know, it almost feels like fate, you know. You're driving for that team when something like this happens with Newman.
Yeah. And obviously a big shout-out as well to guys like Jeff Gluck, Bob Pockris, Jenna Fryer, and all the other media personnel that did their best uncovering the situation for not stirring speculation and just doing what they're good at. And I can't imagine how difficult their jobs were these past 24 hours. So I want to give a shout-out to those guys as well because they certainly...
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did their job well. While we're talking about Newman, I've actually got on NASCAR on Reddit, and this put a smile on my face. Fans have donated $1,500 to Newman's charity, Rescue Ranch. I even donated a little bit last night after the news came out about him. So if you guys can pitch in a little bit to Newman's charity, that's Rescue Ranch, if you can, or at least just spread the word about it, just as a courtesy to think about Newman and his family, and tell them that, hey, we're here for you. So just because I brought that up, I thought that was really...
Maybe I'll have to do like a charity stream on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to try something like that if I could, and that money can go straight to the Rescue Ranch charity. So
we stream like Tony Stewart's racing game or M3 Sports.
Yeah.
I'd really like to do it on Tony Stewart's racing game. We'll be getting that this weekend. So.
What game are you getting again? You kind of cut out there on my end.
Tony Stewart. Yeah, Tony Stewart's sprint car racing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got that game too. It's
how is it?
Honestly. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Guys, sorry if I sound a little off. I actually just threw up in a Burger King parking lot, so going back to Daytona. That explains why I sound like crap right now.
Yeah. I'm hoping you're okay, man. Obviously, that was I had that same situation eating somewhere a couple months ago, as I was talking about before we started. So
yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. You know, I think that's what happens when you eat someplace that wouldn't even pay any money for their own race team.
Okay.
Go watch Fox News video on that.
Definitely. So the biggest thing before we talk about the trucks and the Xfinity cars and all that, because we will get to those races here in a little bit. The biggest takeaway from this incident is, what does NASCAR do? Because they have taken Newman's and LaJoie's cars to the R&D Center to investigate everything. Because, in recent years, we've seen some rather scary incidents, especially with this package and how quick the cars close in on each other. And this is a tough, I don't know if I know the answer, but I will say this before I ask you. I have full faith in what NASCAR will do. What should NASCAR do in the wake of a horrific incident like this?
All right, well, I'll get to that in a minute. First, what I want to do is send my prayers also to Ryan Blaney and Corey LaJoie.
Yeah.
And LaJoie is great because I've been getting to know him over the past several months. He's a really good guy, one of the most down-to-earth people in the garage you'll find. And you could even tell when Bob Pockers posted their interview last night, he was torn up about it. It's just one of those racing deals, With Blaney, of course, it's the final lap on the 500. You're coming to the flag. Of course, they're going to try to make a move, and of course, Newman's going to try to block it. So,
right.
Absolutely no blame for that. LaJoie, there was absolutely nothing he could have done. I mean, absolutely nothing. Newman's car got right down into him, and there was just no time to react. But yeah, just getting to what you were asking about what NASCAR needs to do, I don't know. I honestly don't know what needs to be done now. Let's see after that. Certainly we're going to have to wait and see what the results are from their investigation. What I would say is maybe look at maybe further limiting the speeds of the cars, or try to find a way just to keep them on the ground, like what they did with the roof flaps in response to several accidents in the 90s where cars went airborne. There's no real clear-cut answer. Certainly what I think they need to do mainly is look at these vulnerable areas on the roll cage. I think everybody puts a lot of focus on the driver compartment area in the front. But, the hit Newman took was from the back. I don't know if NASCAR focuses as much on that because they don't necessarily expect an impact to happen from there. But, in addition to that first hit from LaJoie, the car also came down right on that spot, when it landed. So the spot took multiple hits. Almost kind of like with Antoine Hubert's accident several months ago. They have two races. It wasn't just the one hit he took. He took several violent hits that the chassis just couldn't survive, and obviously led to the death of the driver, which fortunately that wasn't the case this time. But we need to look at how can we make these chassis strong enough to survive a multiple hit impact like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I just don't have any answers. I don't have any answers right now. I'm not really in a place to say this will do that, this will fix the issue, or this will fix the issue. We get a little further into the week and we learn a little bit more about it, then maybe then. Right now, I don't think anybody has any real answers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really have an answer. Again, as you said, nobody is at fault for this incident. Everyone was racing for the win. Blaney racing for the win. LaJoy, nowhere to go. Actually, I see a picture of him out of his car after the race, and he is down to his knees. And
I was actually watching what happened. Looked to me like he was in a lot of pain, but I wouldn't blame him. That was a pretty hard hit he took too.
It was.
Yeah. Just glad that he was able to walk away from it.
Yeah. If anything, this was a freak accident. It really feels like it was a freak accident. And obviously some people have mentioned, why didn't they throw the caution out when Chase Elliott wrecked there right after the white flag? And, well, you wouldn't expect what happened to have happened. And I think, it's the Daytona 500. They wanted to finish under green. And,
So.
Yeah,
maybe something else we can look at. Like what? Sunseat to yellow or restart attempt. And I'm not saying this would have prevented the accident. I'm saying it's maybe something that we should also look at and possibly prevent, future incidents like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll need to put them in a box with us. If you were to ask me what I would say bring back the overtime line, put it where it was, except instead of they have to get here the first time around, you got to get there 2 times around. So by the time you get there the second time, you're already on the white flag lap. And if caution comes out before you get that, yellow comes out and we try it again. And if you make it to that, it's race back to the line. Caution comes out.
Interesting take. I see where you're coming from on that.
Does that have helped? Maybe. I don't know. That's all a hypothetical.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we don't know nothing much else. And we'll, in upcoming episodes, we'll pass on the details that we learn and discuss those. So, I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say. As I mentioned, we're just very thankful that Ryan Newman is okay, because that was a very horrifying incident for anyone to have witnessed. So we're very thankful, and we're keeping Newman and his family in our thoughts as well. And we'll just await any more information that we may get. Besides that, talking about Newman, there was also 2 other races that occurred during the weekend. The NASCAR Gander Outdoor Truck Series race was won by Grant Enfinger, but I think the biggest story from that race was Jordan Anderson, who literally came inches of shocking the world. This guy is probably the most busiest man in NASCAR. He basically, threw in his life savings to, go down and achieve his dream. He drives and runs for his own truck team, and he came so close to winning the Daytona truck race. And even that finish for Anderson, you could just hear it in his post-race interview. This had to have been one of the greatest moments ever for him. It felt like a win for a guy like him. And obviously, Cody Rohrbrough, too, finishing in third. Because if this was Talladega, Cody Rohrbrough would have won that race. And other notable finish, Natalie Decker getting a 5th-place finish as well. Her first race with Nissan Motorsports. Stayed out of trouble, kept the truck clean. So, obviously, the big one occurred. And quite a few wrecks. Truck race, once again won by Grant Enfinger over Jordan Anderson.
Yeah, that was a crazy race. Honestly, I would say that was probably the best race of the weekend, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Finish, I just remember everyone in the stands were just pulling so hard for Jordan. And literally when I saw Enfinger just edge him at the line, I don't think I've ever thrown my hat harder. I mean, I was pulling for Jordan. You know, he's become a good buddy of mine. I wanted to see him win that. And you know, I don't know if people are going to say it was a dick move from Grant or something like that. Let's be real. If Jordan was in that same situation, he would have done the same thing. You know.
Yeah.
It's a strict plate race.
Yeah. I mean, they were just simply racing it out. Not to mention, Anderson doesn't have the kind of money that Force Sport has with those trucks. So, obviously, you know, a guy like Anderson, he's just trying to also make sure that he brings home that truck in one piece. So, still, heck of an accomplishment for him.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to his interview, he sank a ton of money into that one truck that he ran. So, you know, obviously he didn't want to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even see that just from how he was running through the race. You know, he was just kind of hanging back the whole time, but he made sure he was there at the end, and he just about made it to the top.
That's where it counts, as long as you're there in the end. So he made through all the carnage, and there he was, backstretch. So, final lap. He's there. I remember I was watching there. I was like, "Oh my God, Jordan Henderson's in second. Let's go!" So it was. I won't lie. I was pulling for Jordan Anderson as well at that point because I think it would have been awesome for a guy like him to get a win. So obviously, even so, for Daytona, that's going to be a good check for his racing. So. And moving on to the NASCAR Xfinity race, Junior Motorsports, looks like they were the dominant team in this one. And with this one, Noah Gragson getting his first career Xfinity win. I personally believe that I think he really needed to get a breakout season this year. I think he's off to a rather good start, getting his first win.
Yeah, you know.
Good.
He's looking to please Jimmy. You know, that's a good way to start off your campaign.
Yeah, and yeah, trust me, that's got to be going through his mind right now, going, you know, I got to have a big season. If I want to get that 48 right next season, I got to have a big season. So,
well, he's already into the playoffs, so
yeah, I don't think this will be the only win he gets this season. I think he'll get more wins, and I think he's going to have to
be the only win.
What was that?
I'm confident he's going to win a bunch of races this year.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we've covered a lot of Daytona, last speed weeks.
You know, I do just want to talk about this, though. You know, despite everything that happened in the 500, we still got to give credit where it's due. Denny Hamlin with his third 500, only, I believe, the fourth driver to win 2 in a row. I mean, He's up to good company now.
Yeah, last driver to do it, I believe, was Starling Marlin, 1994 and 1995, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, so, and Hamlin certainly proved that he's a dual threat at Daytona. So, and obviously, you know, big congrats to Denny Hamlin winning the Daytona 500. I know that this win pretty much got swamped by this entire situation, but still, a congrats to him and Joe Gibbs Racing winning the Daytona 500. Also credit
to Joe Gibbs, you know, for apologizing for the team celebration, you know, without knowing this was a women's accident. You know, I've met Gibbs on a couple of occasions, but he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the garage. You know, I know he would never celebrate knowing another driver was in that sort of situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see what you mean. Also, don't forget, Ryan Newman actually drove for Jordan Anderson's truck team at Eldora back in 2018 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember getting to talk to Jordan at Kentucky back in 2018 about that and how exciting that was. So, kind of a interesting connection there. Besides that, I don't. One bit of news popped up. Garrett Smithley returning to Rick Ware Racing for an expanded Cup schedule this season. Some news got announced for him there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely good to hear. Garrett's also kind of a good friend of mine for as long as I've been working in NASCAR. So it's definitely good to see him, get more opportunities at the Cup level.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Adam Stern also posted some ratings. Fox earned a 4.2 rating and 7.026 million viewers for yesterday's rescheduled Daytona 500. The average rating across the 2 days was 4.4 and 7.330 million viewers. And I heard a lot of people were even watching it Sunday before the rain came in, too. So a lot of people were watching this one.
All right.
Besides that, there really isn't anything else to report on the matter or anything else right now. So, Darian Gillum, Black Flags Matter, he just tweeted this. Catch me on the Dumpster Fire podcast tonight at 9 p.m. Looked up to Urinating Tree and 5 Points bids for a while. Honored to be invited to the show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that a lot while he was down in Daytona.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I don't think I personally watched Urinating Trees podcast, but I may have to watch this one when I get home. When is that?
The podcast?
Yeah.
It's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
9 p.m.? Oh, I'm not going to get there in time. I just crossed over into Tennessee, so I'm not going to be able to get there in time. Yeah. I mean, do they post them after they go live?
Pretty sure it'll be available to watch later, yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Matt Weaver posted this tweet. Myrtle Beach Speedway is fielding offers from land redevelopers, although management says no deal is imminent.
You said Matt Weaver did?
Yeah, he tweeted about Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Yeah, I heard that was a rumor going around over the past weekend from Roger Carew. That would suck to see. But the historic short track, I hate to see them go like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell everybody on the podcast here, what I tell everybody else. If you're a fan who loves going to see short track racing, try to bring people with you. Try to get them into it. And also, don't go on social media just bashing the track, because that's what kills them.
With that being said, next weekend, I believe all three circuits are going to be heading to Las Vegas, where our West Coast sweep will start kicking off here, because obviously they changed up the schedule for this season. You got any favorites for Las Vegas?
Cup side, Penske cars always seem to kind of shine there. So I definitely want to say probably Brad or Joey.
Yeah, I do like the Penske drivers in that race, and I also like Harvick as well.
Yeah, definitely good thing to go with.
So stay tuned for that. We'll talk about those races next week. And maybe we may do another one if any updates come out about Ryan Newman. We can potentially talk about that if you ever want to. So once again, keep your thoughts and prayers, and keep thinking for Ryan Newman and his family right now, as well as everybody involved. God is good. We're very, very thankful.
I do just want to say this, though. Just because this one turned out okay compared to what it could have been, don't go around saying the sport's too safe or, there's nothing more we need to do. There's always something we need to do. The sport can always be safer. We just need to keep working towards, making it so these incidents become fewer and further in between. And they're already pretty far in, and they're already pretty few and far in between. So, we just need to keep working at constantly making it safer.
Agreed. NASCAR's done a hell of a job with their safety enhancements over the course of the past 2 decades, but obviously I agree there's definitely room, and I think something can be done here. I don't know what it is, but I do have faith in NASCAR, and I have faith they'll make the right decisions regarding especially the super speedway races in the future, because it won't be too long from now that we go to Talladega in April, and then we go back to Daytona, not in July, but in August or September for the regular season finale. And God knows how that race will go. So, again, God is good. We prayed, and we're very thankful that Newman he has a long recovery ahead, but we're very thankful he's okay. Feel free to donate to his charity, the Rescue Ranch, just to think of him, and we hope that Newman will have a speedy and successful full-on recovery. So, besides that, next week we'll be back. We'll talk about Las Vegas and the exciting races that will take place there, and any news that may come out as well. So besides that, Michael, thanks again for coming on. I hope you've had a safe trip back home, and you have yourself a good night.
Thanks, too, man.
You bet. For Michael Klein and myself, Alex Gray, this is the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour here on The Grueling Truth. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.